So my name is Miles Spilsbury. I play saxophone in Vale.
And my name's Sam Dutton-Taylor, and I play bass in Vale.
So we're currently based in Leeds. We all met at music college at the Leeds College of Music. We've been going for around 3.5 years now.
Vale is the musical mute point of 4 different musicians from 4 very different places, and it's the sort of the crossroads of all the different musics that we love and that we enjoy and that we play every day. And I hope that you can hear that every time we play. I think it's kind of like a meeting point of all the different things that all of the different musicians are into, you know, whether that's the jazz elements or the sort of more Afrobeat elements, the more electronic elements, and you know, Miles brings a lot of the effects and things like that, and I think everyone brings a different thing, and they all sort of meets in the middle with this sound that incorporates lots of other different ones, I think.
I think how it all began, I was forming a band for my final recital at the music college, but I think what I wanted to do was to try and write some original music for the recital, and so I started to write songs for it and then assembled the other guys, and so we played the recital and then we ended up just continuing from there. To begin with, it was we kind of maybe more of a standard jazz band format. So we'd we'd have a form and we'd take turns soloing over the form. But I think as the band's progressed, we've moved a lot more to group improvisation. So I'd say improvising a lot more rhythmically and as a whole, rather than kind of taking turns, taking solos, as is the traditional way with jazz.
Yeah, like Miles is saying, we bring less and less of a whole piece up until the point now. Really, the last couple of tunes we've written basically has been even just a very basic idea of just sort of maybe half of a riff or something, and then from that point, the band has written the tune as a whole.
Being part of the Northern Line scheme has definitely opened up a lot of opportunities for us already, and I think, you know, there's been some really amazing bands on the scheme in the past, and I've kind of heard about the scheme through college and gone to see lots of bands that are part of it, and I think definitely always wanted to be a part of that. So I think we definitely feel very fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah,
now.
Definitely. And I mean, already I think we've both received like phone calls and emails from people saying, I've heard about you from the Northern Line, you know, it sounds great, and it's nice to actually be approached rather than have to do the approaching. And I think because people understand what the scheme is and it's very clear and well organised, they find it so easy to contact you, and they're not like, oh, because you sometimes get to that point in the conversation when they say, so the fee, whereas with the Northern Line it's so much clearer. So I think it takes away a lot of the red tape of getting those like nice gigs. You know, some of the jazz festivals that have approached us and stuff since,
absolutely,
you know, it's been really clear, and they've said exactly that. Yeah, it's been great. It's been really good.
Yeah, and I think like the opportunity that Northern Line gives is because if you're playing like a very niche music, which has kind of got lots of elements mixed in, you know, it can be very, very difficult to find gigs in other cities, because if we're in Leeds, obviously we know lots of people from the music college and so on, but if we're trying to play in a new city, it can be very hard to make the connections. And because it is a niche music, we can't necessarily guarantee an audience or like to bring a crowd, and so it can be hard to find gigs with this niche music, I guess, and so Northern Line definitely helps a lot in that regard. I think it was quite hard to bring all of those elements in at the beginning, because we were all training in jazz, and you know, we're very much involved with the very traditional side of jazz at that point. And so at the time, I think it was maybe quite challenging to begin to bring those elements in.
Yeah.
But I think after a while, it did become quite natural, because all of us do listen to a really wide variety of music, from like the heavy music on the metal side of things to the Afrobeat and everything in between. And so I think that because we were all bringing those influences in, and we've always tried to maintain quite kind of open space as a band, and so, you know, where kind of all ideas and all genres are kind of welcome, I think it became quite natural. And because that was what we were all listening to, you know, that does come out naturally in what you play.
So I would like a member of the audience who comes to our gig to, I suppose, remember it. I suppose, first of all, you know, actually think, okay, and maybe even be able to, you know, hum some of the tunes or think of some of the experiences that they went away. But I think I wouldn't want them to feel any specific thing, because I suppose it might have a different meaning for loads of different people. But I think the music that we write, we try as hard as we can to make it as impactful as possible. Because then, you know, we don't want people to listen and be like, yeah, that was, you know, it was all right. We kind of want to make, maybe I suppose you could say Marmite music almost, you know, and you're just really strong with what you want, what we want to say musically. And if you're not into that, fair enough. If you are, amazing.